What happens if someone is gone on a couple dates and they're not feeling any connections to their matches? How do you handle those situations?
I would say let's have a conversation about what your expectations are and then maybe adjust their mindset a little bit. Again, like what I was saying, like I need someone that's over 6 feet, that, you know, they have to do this, this, and this. And if you have such strong parameters, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. I always say enter the dating process, trying to figure out what you can learn about yourself as opposed to like, how can I get these people to like me? So just turn it into a process about yourself. Make it about you. It is about you.
Mm-hmm. I like and that. Take it as a learning experience. Every single date, you are going to learn something,
it's
whether you think it or not.
To where you need to go. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. Yeah. Very true. Okay, now I have some general questions about dating that I would like your expert opinions on. I'm curious. I know, Taylor, you're not quite there yet, but I'm sure you've seen it enough. But I'm curious, what do you guys think is the biggest difference between dating in your 30s and beyond versus 20s?
Different lifestyle. Like, so many things change from the 20s and the 30s. I mean, especially for me, too. Like, I was going out with porn stars, you know?
Yeah, right?
Like, come on. I wasn't thinking about a baby daddy.
Right. So just people's sort of priorities change.
Priorities, lifestyle, expectations, goals.
And they're more intentional, too. You
Yeah.
hit 30 and everyone's like, oh, the clock. And it's real. It does exist. I don't discredit that. But everyone is seriously very intentional. You know, your 20s are kind of fun. You're just learning about yourself. And then the 30s come and you're like, I want to find my person.
Yeah.
But I will say, actually, I've had quite a few people that were like, you know what? I was too picky in my 20s. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, when I go back and think about those dates that I went on or those short-term relationships for 4 or 5 months, and they picked out something so tiny that was their flaw.
All the self-sabotaging that we do.
Yeah. It happens all the time where I hear that and I'm like, wow, like I don't want anybody to live with regrets or anything like that, but I think that's one of the biggest lessons to take away from it.
Yeah. But that's interesting because I think it goes back to being ready. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of these defense mechanisms that we do when we know we really, you know, if you can't find anything wrong with him, why wouldn't he be the one you settle down with, right? But if you're not ready to settle down, you got to find something. And we do these things and it's like, is that really an issue? Is that really a problem? And then they're the ones that get away.
Yeah.
The ones that get away. What do you think qualifies true compatibility?
Friendship and respect. Mm-hmm. Like a good, solid friendship. Like you genuinely enjoy that person and they respect you and vice versa.
100%, because I feel like respect is just that umbrella of everything.
Yeah.
You know, loyalty, everything.
So you think it's not as granular as we make it. It's not because you like the same music. It's not because of your values. It's not because it's like you, as long as you treat each other with respect and you like each other. You have that friendship.
You have to like each
other.
You
enjoy being around each other. That's really enough.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Now you know. And the sexual chemistry, obviously.
Well, yeah, chemistry is huge because that's going to make the difference between your BFF and your BF, right?
That's the people that are like, I want to feel the spark when I walk in the door on the first date. That stuff goes away. Yeah. That like beating out of my chest. But the friendship and the respect stays. Obviously, you want to be attracted to somebody and you know.
Yeah.
But you have to like them.
Do you guys think, like I always say, I think personality is going to win for me 10 out of 10 times over looks. It may be the first thing that we look at, but I think that like a quote unquote 6 could be a 10 because he makes me laugh and he's nice to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you find that a lot of girls feel that way? And how does it differ from men's opinions?
Ooh. She asked the tough
Or do you think
questions.
we're more similar than we think?
Men are definitely more visual.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, girls are a little bit more open-minded when it comes to that.
Yeah. It could be our intelligence or emotional IQ. You know what I mean?
Or just feeling like stimulated. I feel like a girl wants to feel seen. Like if you can make me laugh, if you can ask me questions about myself, let me talk about myself, you'll feel seen and heard and you're like, all right. Yeah. Going up on the cute meter a little bit over there. But a guy is like...
A guy could get it all, but he's like, if he's not physically attracted, it's...
Oh, it's game over.
Mm-hmm. You know who.
I know who I'm talking about. You're thinking about someone.
It's just funny because it's one of those things that I think will change as I get older, but men are men. We're different creatures. We're different creatures. We really are.
I know. I don't know what it is.
I mean, but then again, it's fair.
You can't change it.
It's
We're
fair.
just honest.
Yeah.
100%. Like, that's the feedback that we get a lot of the times.
Really? That's most often the feedback you get from men?
Yeah, and because women, like, we can look, like we said, we can look over it, you know, if you can make us laugh, if you can make us feel safe.
Buildable. Yeah.
Be vulnerable, cool. But men, it's like, no, girl can do all of that for him, but if he is not physically attracted, there's absolutely no second date.
Fair. Okay, now I want to know do you have a rule of thumb? I have a couple things that I'm going to sort of throw out at you, and I want to know what you think. We're going to give people some advice when they're going on their dates. Do you think that there is a limit to how many cocktails you can have on a first date?
Oh, yes. 1 to 2 tops. You should not be drinking like crazy on the first date.
Okay, maybe 3, 4.
Well, it depends how long the date is, right? What if you guys like do an activity and you're out and about versus an hour dinner?
But too many cocktails lead to word vomit. Word vomit leads to oversharing. Oversharing leads to waking up the next morning saying, why haven't I heard from him yet?
Like the guy that wanted you to meet the sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, what happens?
Yeah, it was the espresso martinis I got to him.
First dates are short. They should be short. And we just want to make sure that you're leaving something more.
Yeah,
you know?
leave some sense of mystery. Set up that second date.
Yeah.
That curiosity, for sure.
Oh, okay, fair. Conversation topics. In 2023, do you think that there are still areas that are considered taboo and we should avoid on a first date? Or do you think that it's okay to bring those things up now because, like you said, we're being more intentional and it's good to understand where a person stands?
Luckily, before you go out on one of our lunch dates, like political standpoint, like things like that those questions that people say, don't talk about that on a first date. You know that already going into the date. So we're actually putting you ahead of the game there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else you would say that you wouldn't talk about on a first date, like past relationships. I wouldn't recommend doing that then. I mean, I think there's a time and place for that. But what do you think of that? I
mean, I'm the wrong person to ask because when my husband and I met, we were like complete opposites. He lived in Rhode Island. I lived in the North End with no car. Yeah. He's definitely more conservative and I was like totally liberal, you know, like vote for opposite people. And yet like here we are. And as once again, like Taylor said, the respect thing is so huge. If you can respect each other's opinions and values, like everything else falls into place.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so the verdict's still out there a little bit. I'm not sure.
Once again, it's like whatever energy you feel from them, if they excite you, if they make you feel safe, if you get the butterflies to see them again, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Maybe, like, as long as they respect your feelings and what you're saying.
Right, I agree with you on that. Yeah. I don't think you have to see eye to eye in everything.
No, it's
I don't
boring.
think that people that share different political views or different religions can't have a successful and happy relationship.
100%.
I'm curious if you recommend waiting to talk about it until you get on your third or whatever date.
Yes, maybe wait for like a second or third date because I will say some of the feedback that we get too is somebody like, oh, they got on their soapbox on a first date, you know, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it could have worked, but you just brought it too soon.
Right. Fair, okay. Who do you think should initiate the next date? And this is like generally speaking, not necessarily just lunchbox. Lunch. My God, can we pretend I didn't just say lunchbox? Not necessarily lunch dates. Oh my God, I don't know where that just came from. But like in the real world or in.
Oh, I hate this.
It could be either.
It is so silly.
I know.
Like,
we talk about this all the time.
Text them. Like,
it doesn't
why
matter.
Are you being a weirdo?
We work with a lot of women. I see this just not even at work, but in general, women are like, nope. The guy texts first, and they just won't. And then communication just slips through the cracks. And the guy's like, I don't know if she was into me. And then it goes away. And then you lose it. If you're feeling it, go for it.
Yes,
I've had enough of the... I'm so passionate about
Taylor, the smoke's coming out of her ears. She's getting so mad.
Because you have nothing to lose.
Yes.
And also women, I say this all the time to my female clients, and they're like, half of them are like, what are you talking about? But if you go out on a date, he picks up the tab, and you had a great time, I don't care if you said it to him in person that you want to see him again or whatever, because let's be honest, men are sometimes really bad listeners. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they're probably thinking, should I kiss her? Do I walk her to the Uber? What do I do? So they're not listening to you saying, I had a great time. I'd love to see you again. Like, you know, let's do this.
Right.
So shoot him a text when you get home. Say, hey, thanks so much. I had a great time. Would love to do it again. And then put the ball in his court.
Yeah.
Put the ball in his court, but create that safe place for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good advice.
I love that. Meet him halfway.
Yeah. Because nowadays, too, guys get that stigma, like, if they play it too cool, they're not interested.
Yep.
If they're too eager, then they're creeps. It's like, well, what do we want from them?
It's true.
You know what I mean?
We all do it, but I
Yes.
think that there's like the rule and the exception to rule, and there's just so much gray area, and it also is just very like personal, and it varies depending on the situation. And like I might want one thing from, like, say me and you are going on a date, I might want you to treat me one way, and then like I want you to treat me another way, right? Like I could feel differently depending on who it is. So, but we just like have these, oh well, no, it has to be in this box. This box. I was curious though, because I think that there's a lot of people that feel not even gender specific, but like whoever asked the first date, then you're supposed to return the favor, like it's courtesy or etiquette or things like that, right? But I like that. I mean, it just goes to show too how I think modernized and far removed from the old ways of matchmaking you guys are, because there aren't those same ideals that you guys feel must be followed.
No, totally. And we always say our whole office has like, they're either married, engaged, whatever it is, and the women have always initiated the relationship.
Always initiated it.
Even our owners, women initiate.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is so true.
Go for it.
Like, if you want something, go get it.
Yes.
Like, it is not going to fall. I mean, it might fall into your lap, but like, you got to put the work in too.